Welcome to the Haunted Beard, everybody. My name is Jake. Thank you for joining me. Today, I want to give you my thoughts and review for The Gorge. This is a brand new film that just became available to stream on Apple Plus. And this one stars, of course, Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Teller and was directed by Scott Derrickson. The Gorge tells the story of two highly trained operatives who become close after being sent to protect opposite sides of a mysterious gorge. And when an evil emerges, they must work together to survive the evil that lies within. And I'm going to just come right out and say I had a pretty fun time with The Gorge. This is one that kind of gives you that sort of big budget summer blockbuster type of feel, but right at home in your living room, direct to streaming. And so it feels like that kind of summer blockbuster type of movie. And the biggest thing going for The Gorge is the genre blending mashup that this thing is. This movie pretty much has something for everyone. If you like sci-fi, got you covered. If you like mystery, got you covered. If you like action, check. Romance, check. Horror, check. Survival movies, check. Thrillers, check. It's got it all. And Derrickson and the writers here are really able to take all of those different flavors and put them in a blender and blend it up and create a pretty tasty smoothie, if you will, at least one that I enjoyed. Both of the leads here are really solid, and they really carry the film on their backs as they are just about the only characters in this film, at least for the most part. And Anya Taylor-Joy, she plays this Lithuanian assassin by the name of Drasa, and Miles Teller plays an American who was a former Marine sniper by the name of Levi. They are both taken to this mysterious gorge, working on opposite sides in these big old towers, and they're given very specific instructions that they're not to communicate with one another, and they're given very limited information as far as where they are. And so the whole setup here just has this aura of mystery surrounding it. And it's not too long before the boredom and the monotony of their kind of repetitive day-to-day lives becomes a little too much for them, where they start talking. And it starts off by them communicating, looking through these binoculars across the gorge at each other, writing each other notes. And I really liked this approach here. It really builds the characters well, and it builds their relationship quite well. Both of the leads here have a lot of charisma, and there's a lot of chemistry, and so it's just really easy to take a liking to both of them. And so I like how the film developed their relationship, and it has to do it in a unique way, given the set of circumstances and the situation that they're in. There's like a 25-minute chunk of this film not long after they both arrive at the gorge that are completely dialogue free. And so their relationship starts developing without them being able to hardly see one another and talk to each other at all, except just through writing on these signs that they hold up and look at through the binoculars. There's a scene here once they're starting to kind of get to know each other, this little kind of montage that's set to Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones that I thought was just fantastic. Love the song choice. Love that whole sequence there. I was having a good time. And I think that's kind of a good indication. If you're on board, if you're enjoying the film by this point, I think you're going to have a pretty good time with the rest of the film. In addition to what I think works about all these genres kind of blending together is that it allows for sudden drastic tonal shifts that really work and are quite effective. A lot of times that can be a movie's downfall, where the tone just shifts drastically and it kind of throws you off. Well, here, because you've got all these different, subgenres working together, it works. And so you have one moment where Teller and Taylor-Joy are kind of sharing this sort of, kind of romantic type of moment. And then a second later, at the drop of a pin, something sinister and dark can happen. And so I just like how the film is able to navigate not only all the different genres, but all the different tones and kind of all the different vibes and types of atmospheres that come with those genres. I think the film it does a pretty solid job kind of juggling all those things together. Now, where the first half of the film largely focuses on them and their relationship, you do get some thrills and some suspense in there, but the second half of the film takes a more horror type of turn to it. And so that's where I, as a horror fan, really lean into it. As much as I was enjoying the first half, once it turned more into a sci-fi horror direction is when I got on board even more. Early on in the film, we learn that the Gorge is filled with these creatures called the Hollow Men. And there is some mystery surrounding who they are and how they got there and, what exactly is going on. Because it is this highly secretive place that doesn't even show up on the radars. And so there are these creatures down in the Gorge, and once you get a good look at them, I really like the design of the creatures. Pretty cool, pretty unique, kind of different, a little bit reminiscent of a couple things, but for the most part, a pretty cool and unique creature design. Now, ultimately, what ends up happening, as I mentioned, that second half takes more of a horror turn, and I wouldn't consider this a spoiler. I think it's pretty obvious that this is ultimately where the film is headed. They find themselves in the Gorge having to survive. And this is a pretty cool place. Kind of the visual realization of the Gorge and the world down in there. It's pretty cool. The look of this world and the visual style here is cool. Lots of different kind of color palettes and color filters, purples and reds and things like that. And you get kind of some different vibes just with the overall terrain of the Gorge, where sometimes it's very reminiscent of this kind of haunted forest. Other times you get kind of this desolate desert. And then other times you get this like ghost town, abandoned military base type of vibe to it. And so I just kind of liked all of that. Just a cool representation and world that they created in the Gorge. As I said, I had a fun time with this one. It's not without its faults. There are some issues that I had with it. The first thing has to do with once you finally kind of get some of the answers to the central mystery surrounding the Hollow Men, they are, I would say, fairly predictable or kind of standard, just in the sense that we've kind of seen, movies take this sort of route or story direction before. There are some conveniences that happen in the film that are maybe a little too convenient for my personal liking. When Taylor-Joy and Teller kind of find themselves in some pretty precarious and dangerous situations, there are a couple things, convenient things that happen to kind of help them escape or get out of harm's way that are a bit much. But like I said, overall, I had a pretty fun time with this. And I think if you like the leads and you like really any of those types of genres, and if you've seen any of the previews and it looks interesting to you, I would think you'll have a pretty good time with it. Grab a friend or family member, pop some popcorn, and put this thing on. I think you'll enjoy yourselves. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm gonna go 7 out of 10 for this one. I think for what it does, it's a pretty entertaining time, and I enjoyed myself for the most part. So those are my thoughts on The Gorge. Hit me up down below. Let me know your thoughts. Always like hearing your guys' thoughts and takes on these movies. That's all I got for you, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you got anything out of this, go ahead and do me a favor and do not click that subscribe button unless you want to be haunted by the beard.